Tracking can be quite annoying at times, especially when dealing with obstructions or organic features. I want to show what we can do with plate stabilization within Syntheyes. Using the image preprocessor, we can head over to the Stabilization tab. Stabilizing a plate using Syntheyes is beneficial for a few reasons, but in this video I'm only going to be demonstrating how it can be used to aid in tracking. So here I have a shot of a car with a single tracker on the tail light. Now something like this might not look like the hardest thing to track, but when you take a look at it, there is loads of detail, but most of this detail is curved edges, contours, reflective surfaces. A lot of these features can wreak havoc on your trackers. So I'd like to use a mixture of feature tracking and by hand tracking. Now using feature tracking on a shot like this means that you have to enlarge your search box quite a bit, which depending on your machine can slow you down, or can mean that you're capturing some similar details causing your tracker to jump. Thankfully that's not the case for a shot like this. Another issue here is if I want to use by hand tracking, the shot is so shaky and erratic that it's not going to spline very kindly. So now let's stabilize our plate and see how it can benefit us. So hit P on your keyboard. This opens up the image preprocessor. So let's head over to the Stabilize tab. If you happen to have many other trackers in your scene, you might only want to stabilize using one of those trackers. In this case, I only have one, so what I'm about to say doesn't apply to me. But if you have many trackers, select the one you want, or multiple, and come up and hit Get Tracks. And now we can change translation to something like peg. Now that I've changed it, it doesn't look like anything happened. That's because we're on our first frame. If I scrub ahead, you can see the magic happen. So this is only translation that we're doing, so the car is still rotating. And we're going to roughen another tracker using this stabilization, and we're going to reverse engineer this later. Now before I hit OK and use what we have, you'll notice that the tracker is kind of flying around. This is where the car originally was before the stabilization. We have to update this tracker to the new stabilized position. To do that, we can come over to the Output tab, and here we have these set of buttons right here. Apply to trackers, padding, distortion, stabilization, and remove from trackers. If you happen to have ST maps or whatever, you can apply the distortion to trackers and affect their position. In this case, we're going to use stabilization. So if I hit apply, if I move this over, we'll watch this tracker jump over to the tail light. There we go, magic. So something I prefer to do is I actually want to center the pivot of my shot to the center of my camera view, because sometimes you're tracking a object that can scale up in your scene and end up going off screen, so you don't want your image to be way over here. So I'm going to hit undo over here. So I'm going to use this little gizmo that you just saw me drag, and I can reposition this anywhere I need it to be. But notice our tracker didn't follow along, and if I come over to output, I can apply or I can remove, and it's not going to fix it. So I'm going to undo that gizmo transform that I just did. And I'm going to remove the stabilization from the trackers temporarily so that I can make my adjustment. By the way, the adjustments made by this gizmo are all done under the Adjust tab. Here you can see we have the delta transformations that are being applied on top of this camera, because we are working in a 3D space here. Benefit of that is when you stabilize, you can still solve your footage. This is far superior to the simple translation methods typically done by compositors. So I'll drag this over here, and now I'll come back to output and apply to trackers, and hit OK. And here when we play our shot, you could see that we're not even stabilized on the tracker. It's the plate that's stabilized. See, I can freely move my pan 2D zoom and we're good. So I'm not quite done with the stabilization. What I actually want is to handle the rotations as well. But first off, we had to at least get one point down so that we can get an easier angle on the license plate, let's say. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of tracking. I am going to show this portion of the tracking, so sorry if I'm boring, but I do want to talk about it as I go. So benefit of doing the stabilization is that we can now have a very small search box, which I think I said earlier, depending on your machine, might be a lot easier for you to manage. And yeah, I know you had to sit through the process of re-rendering that stabilized plate. This has been very low stress for me. But coming up here, we are going to have to use by hand mode to get this tracker to spline off the edge of the footage right here. So I'm going to hit H on my keyboard or come over and turn on by hand. And we're going to go to the next frame where the license plate is visible and hold Z on your keyboard and left click to place your tracker on our corner, and let's keep it going. And I'm going to turn off by hand tracker, so hit H. Holding Z so I can reposition the tracker. Holding Z again. I might just turn on H, or I could expand this, but you know what? It's working. I take it back. I was about to say I was going to finish this off by hand. Okay, so we have our tracker. There might be a little bit of issue with the rotation right here, but most of the car is gone, so whatever solve you would get from this, you're not going to see that error really. You're just going to have to focus on that bottom corner. So now with our additional point done that's going to help with our rotation, we can go and reverse engineer our plate stabilization, as I said. I don't know if reverse engineer is the best way to put it, but I'm going to reapply our distortion with the addition of this extra tracker. Something I have to point out right away is that our by hand tracker is going to cause us a little bit of grief when we remove this stabilization. Because it is splining between these two keys, it's going to have a different result when we remove the stabilization. So I want to show you what's going to happen to it first, and then I'll show you how to fix it. So I'm going to go with image prep, and we're going to start in output because we have to remove the stabilization from these trackers first while the data is all applied in these tabs. So we're going to go remove. Now the trackers are back where they should be. And we're going to go to adjust, and we're going to right click all of these delta transformations. Again, these are what happened when I moved that gizmo. And then we'll head over to stabilize, and we can turn off peg or we can clear tracks. I'm going to turn off peg. If I hit OK, you can see that we're back to normal. And it looks pretty normal until you look at the tracker up here that is splining. The spline didn't know what to do with this new erratic motion, so we actually have to bake the keys into that tracker before we remove all that stuff. So I'm going to undo and bring that stuff back, Control Z. And now let's bake some keys right here where by hand is taking place. So we're going to open up the graph editor. I'm going to come up to Layout, Camera Graphs, and here we can see Active Trackers, Tracker 3. I'm going to expand this. And we're going to double click, get rid of that, and double click U and V. And we're going to turn off the color coding. And maybe let's scale this up just so we can see it. So now you can see every frame that we have keyframe data on. And here we can see where everything was smoothly splined in between. This is what we have to bake. To do this, I'm going to come down and use this Add Keys tool. And I'm going to drag and highlight our whole curve. Whoops, it didn't work. That's because our tracker is locked. So I'm going to hit plus on my number pad. And now try again. There we go, and make sure I didn't miss any. With this done, I'm going to hit F2 just so I get my full camera view again. Lock that point up, and let's go and remove the stuff again. So hitting P on my keyboard, I'm going to come to Output, Remove from Trackers, Adjust, get rid of the delta transforms, Stabilize, Clear Tracks, or you can just turn Peg to none, which I might as well do both. Okay. And now, looking at our tracker, it looks pretty damn good. So let's lock on, take a look. Nice. Now let's make use of both of our points for our stabilization. So if I hit P on my keyboard, come to image prep, we can now come and use peg for both translation and rotation. So if I scrub, we can see that we have some magic happening, but there is something a little bit funny here. Notice how the car is stretching. Now the stretching makes sense because in the plate itself, we have perspective. I'm shooting on a very wide angle lens and the car is stretching close towards the edges. But the point of the stabilization is to reduce all of the variables that are going to harm our trackers as much as possible. So there is a way that we can correct this if we enter in our lens data over under the lens tab. The reason that this stuff is here is because the stabilization is actually happening in a 3D space. Benefit of this is that you can actually track and solve stabilizations like this. Often when tracking departments get a hold of footage that is stabilized, stuff like this wreaks havoc on the solvers. So this is a nice way to correct for it. Now I'm going to need to enter some lens data. First, I'm going to come over to my shot, edit shot, and for my Sony a7S Mark III, I'm going to enter 35.6, I think it is. Hit OK, and come over to the lens tab, and I'll change this to 18, which it looks like I already did. Oops, surprise, I recorded this already and I had to redo a take. So hitting P on my keyboard, come over to the lens tab, and I can hit Get Solver Field of View. And now you can see we have the same data in our image preprocessor, and now it's being used for our stabilize. So if I come over and do our peg for our translation and rotation again, you can see that the image plane is now very extreme looking. But the benefit of this is look at how the car isn't squashing anymore because we're actually using, well, the proper lens data. So it ends up correcting a lot of the distortion that comes with a traditional stabilization. And while I'm here, I'd like to center my shot. Let's bring it over here. And if we scrub around our plate, maybe I want to keep the scale of this car consistent as well. So to do this, I'm actually going to animate my delta transforms. And again, this little gizmo, everything is happening under our adjust right here. So I'm going to go into this keying mode. What is it? Make keys on current frame. So if I click this, it doesn't actually make the keyframes. It puts you into a mode where you can key things. So now if I move this gizmo, you can see that we have keyframes right here, and I'm also going to adjust my rotation so I get some keys right there, and our zoom. And for our zoom, let's frame this vehicle so it's nice and visible in our shot. And go to the very end of our clip, and let's position things more. I'll drag that gizmo, rotate, level things out, and zoom right in. And I'm doing this because when things are a bit more consistent to look at, it's easier to apply the trackers. And oh, it looks like I might actually be finding a bug with this stuff because this doesn't look very good. Let's hit OK, first applying our trackers, and just see what it looks like. Might not be a bug, might just be a limitation. So you can see that we've tried our best to keep the car a little bit more consistent throughout the shot. Even something like this, it's going to be easier to use by hand on our trackers, but admittedly, it's probably a bit extreme for what is going on here. So I'm going to hit P. I'm going to remove our stabilization from our trackers, come over to adjust. Let's pull this zoom out. There was a keyframe on the first image, and there is a key on the last. So I'm going to skip to the very end, key that, and now let's just center our image like so. I'm happy with this. It's fine. I wanted delta zoom, but we can't all have what we want. So scrubbing to the beginning of the shot, you can see things are looking pretty good. There's a little bit of a rotation right here. So I'm going to level that car out again. I'm going to try not to put too many keys on this delta because I do like when my by hand doesn't have to have too many points of adjustment. So let's come over to output, apply the trackers, hit OK. Nice. Love it. So now I can start doing some tracking on this, and if I did put some more trackers on the light over here with the aid of this stabilization, I could also use that point as well. I can get rid of the stabilization, unapply, use the extra tracker, apply the stabilization, and now we have an even smoother result that we can keep putting more and more points on. In this case, I'm just going to add a quick tracker and show you why I like this. Now I love that I can just quickly take a point like this, and I can turn on by hand mode, come over, let's go right to the end, and we're going to block in some major frames. So let's go right before it leaves screen. Come over to when it appears again. And so on. I know this isn't the best at what I'm doing, but I just wanted to show the speed and what this can do. Because there are times where you can't track anything at all, but you can use a stabilize and get points to last behind massive crowds of people if you need the ground. This thing can help you surpass many crazy obstructions. So per frame, I'm now just going to go in and nudge. So right here, I don't know exactly what it's doing. If I needed to when I have a solve, I can nudge this with very few keyframes if I needed to adjust my car solve. But because I had the field of view entered, we're not dealing with a stretching car, so this tracker is hopefully, far more accurate than it would have been otherwise if you were to eyeball this with all the incorrect data. So here I have a point track for this light. Very quick and crudely done, but it looks pretty awesome in my opinion, especially when it goes off screen. So here is the beauty of this. So now, let's go and remove all the stabilization again. Actually, let's add one more tracker just for fun. Let's get this head. Let's get this mirror. Here I am just getting the feel for what that mirror is doing off screen. Usually, if you were going to eyeball this tracker outside the edge of the footage, you're not going to be able to account for the amount of distortion and how far that tracker is actually going to have to skew off the footage to match. So this is removing that variable. When I apply the distortion for these points, you're going to see these points are going to travel quite far off the edge of the footage. And you're going to wonder how you ever spent time guessing that before you learned about the stabilization, if you didn't know already. Alright, so we have our trackers. So let's revert everything back to normal. First, we're gonna have to make sure that anything that we used by hand on is baked, as I'm gonna call it. So we have a couple points here that's using by hand mode. If you happen to have done a lot of points and have a lot of by hand curves, it'd be kind of annoying to go through one by one and highlight them all individually. So if you Control A, select them all, and we're gonna come back and get our graph editor. Over here, I'm going to double click the hands and frame our U and V positions. And you can see here we have our by hand stuff amongst these curves. And I'm going to use this, actually, what's this button called? Add keys tool. Did I call it that before? I hope I said it correctly. So I'm going to highlight, add our key. Oh, that's right. You got to unlock everything. Unlock. Did I unlock? Oops, I hit the wrong button. Unlock with the plus key in your number pad. Highlight all of these with the Add Key tool, and lock it back up. F2 on your keyboard to come back to your camera view, and now let's remove the stuff. Alright, so one last time. Here we go. Hit P on your keyboard, image prep, and on output, we are going to remove the stabilization from our trackers, come over to adjust, and you're going to right click and clear out these delta transforms. But remember I keyframed this on a few frames, so I could right click, but it'll get rid of one key on the frame. I'm going to Control right click. There we go. Whoop, don't know why I clicked that one. There we go, no more keyframes on this. Head over to Stabilize and clear tracks. Just make sure I'll scrub ahead. Yes, all looks good. So hit OK. And observe your mastery. So if I head over to this corner so we can better see what's happening, look at what the trackers are doing and look at how extreme that stretches. There's no way that you would have guessed that. There's just no way. You're superhuman if you do. So something I do want to point out, I can hit this with a solve and we can see what it's doing. The points they're okay. There's also a lot of shutter in the shot. It's my Sony camera, and this is a very shuttery shot, so my error is going to be quite high. But this can also be a mix of me doing these trackers very quick and crudely for the sake of this tutorial because I'm lazy and tutorials are hard. But if I head on over here, you can see our solve is pretty, kind of decent considering the things that I did and, the things that we had to do to get these trackers. In this case, it's not the best, but something I do want to point out is that I did all this without distortion. So that stabilized that we did. Yeah, we corrected the perspective with the distortion, going off into space. We did that with the field of view and the image prep. But that didn't mean that I had the distortion accounted for, even off into the space. Now, I don't typically do this for a shot this extreme. I usually do this for obstructions happening on screen, but same thing. So maybe in the future I might revisit this and try to apply distortion and also make sure that it works going through this whole system that's going on here. Because I don't remember if it's as simple as having a solved calc value in here. There is a way that you can apply your distortion if you go to output and you have a distortion checkbox here. I'm just not super certain if that's going to do 100% what we think it would in this pipeline. It might, but that's up to you to play around with for now. So with that being said, yeah, have fun.